Hello there. This is Alec Asten from the Mystic Mash podcast. And today we are very grateful to have with us the president of the Mystic Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Bruce Flax. Hello, Bruce.
Hey, Alex. Thanks for having me.
All right, so Bruce, let's just talk about your first knowledge of Mystic, how it came to be that you came here to this place.
Yeah, so I can't believe it was, 30, almost 32 years ago. It was 1994. I had just finished working for FIFA World Cup Soccer, which was the first time in the United States in 1994. And I was director of ticketing at Foxborough Stadium, which is now Gillette, and actually going to be hosting the World Cup again this year. And had done the ticketing and was looking for another job, was working for the Kraft family who had just bought the stadium, kind of doing some marketing stuff for them. And somebody had said to me, oh, there's a ticket manager position available at Foxwoods. And so I applied for the job at Foxwoods and ended up getting the job. So in December of 1994, I moved down here. And it's funny, when I moved down here, the only reason I knew Mystic really, because I grew up in Massachusetts and went to school in Washington, D.C., and so every time we drove back from college, to or from college, we'd pass by the exit for Mystic and Mystic Aquarium, but never had stopped really, never been here. And so when I took the job, the office for HR for Foxwoods used to be in Pawcatuck. And so when I was there, I was like, all right, where do I live? And they said, well, you're probably either Mystic or Westerly. So I went tooling around Westerly, and I went tooling around Mystic, and ended up landing in Mystic. So and then I've been here ever since.
Since you've moved here, what changes have you seen within the area?
So when I first moved here, Main Street was dramatically different. There was, John's Bar was downtown. There was a Rexall Drug. There was BB Dairy. There was a sporting goods store. It was like a small town with no big box stores. That's where people went. They went downtown to shop. And as the years went on, and Mystic kind of went through its ups and downs, things started to disappear. So the Rexall Drug went, and BB Dairy went, and the sporting goods store went, and different things moved in. So I landed in December of 94. I got engaged in March of 95, got married in August of 95. My wife, who's from Vermont, she got a teaching job at Ledyard High School and started 2 days after our wedding at Ledyard High School. So that was 95. In 96, we bought the house that we still live in now. So if you look at the time, like when we had our first child, Haley, we had a dog, and I would walk we live on Noank Road, I'm like a mile from town, and I would get up in the morning and walk the dog and have Haley in a carriage and walk down to town in the morning, let my wife sleep, try to get out of the house. And it was very quiet, quaint. The number of people who are here now were not there before, but the memories of going down, walking around Willow Point, going into town, going into Mystic River Park, walking the boardwalk, getting coffee, hanging out with the dog and the baby, and having people come up, and very pleasant memories.
And knowing now that you were mayor for Groton, what is it really that inspired you to kind of really pursue that as a career?
Yeah, so when the kids were in elementary school at SB Butler, I became a community organizer in that I was on the PTO and was PTO president, and it was interesting because at that time there weren't a lot of men who were, getting involved in those kinds of organizations, and so started meeting more people. Yeah, you kind of establish your social circle based on your kids' friends and where they go to school, and you're at sporting events, you're at T-ball, you're meeting different people. And a friend of mine, Peter Bartnick, said to me, oh, we need people to run for town council. Do you want to run for town council? And I was like, I guess so. What do I need to do? And they said, well, you need to be a Republican. And I'm like, all right, well, I was a Democrat, but I'm like, all right, I'll flip over. Doesn't really matter to me. You're talking about 2007, 2006, somewhere around there, and so I ran, and I lost the first time, lost the second time, but was the one candidate away. There's 9 members of council, and then the mayor, or I think it was Mayor Heather Bond Summers, had gotten a state senator job, and so she had left, and then I got brought in to serve on council, and then I served for 9 more years, and the last 2 I was mayor, which was great. Like being mayor, we're the political makeup of Groton is that it is a 9-person council, and the town is run by a town manager. So the mayor is not a paid position; it's an elected position that you do volunteer, and you're named mayor to run the meetings and to be kind of the face of the town. So once the council is elected, the council elects the mayor.
And in your time being mayor, did it change your perspective of Mystic after living here for the years you've been, and then all of a sudden, having that kind of elevation position?
Yeah, you definitely see in government how slow it is, and how it's very hard to get things done if you're a doer. Like you think, okay, I want to get elected to town council, and I want to have meaningful changes. And first of all, you're one of 9, and the town has an RTM, which is a representative town meeting, which gives another layer of government, or like elected officials that also things have to go through. So it's very difficult in the town to get things done. But the perspective was, yes, very interesting, because being in the meetings each week, there's the majority of people in the town have no idea what's going on, what people are saying. So even when there was something that was controversial, that's when the people would come out, but only the people who were staying connected. So what it teaches you is that there's a very small group of people who have their thumb on what's going on, and in turn can kind of influence what's happening too, because there's so few voices that are really paying attention.
So I want to ask you now, going back, with what you've seen already since your time coming in as chamber, how have you seen even Mystic change even more, since the pandemic, and since I think more people have probably moved into this area than I know?
Yeah, it's really transformed, I think, a lot. I mean, it definitely went through some transformation when the bottom fell out of the economy in 2008, and there was a lot of empty storefronts, but it's kind of climbed out of that and had small peaks and valleys. But after, it seems that when COVID came, that Mystic survived because it was a pleasant place to walk around and outdoors. So when people were trying to find what they could do, we were a perfect place, because you could park downtown, you could walk around, you could eat outside, and if you wanted to go into a store, you threw a mask on or whatever, went into a store. And since that time, we haven't looked back, and part of it has been just the evolution of the storefronts, and also a huge evolution of the food scene in Mystic. So, there's always some great restaurants in Mystic: S&P Oyster, Bravo Bravo, Red 36. But when Dan Miser opened Oyster Club and brought Renee in and had took Engine Room, and the Shipwright's Daughter and David Standridge came into town, it just elevated things, and they continue to elevate. When 2 years ago, David and Renee were both finalists for James Beard Awards, and David won one for Best Chef Northeast. And right now, David is up for a finalist for Best Chef of the Country, and that's happening in June in Chicago. Those things people watch, and so that's contributed to the people coming to Mystic, and even with Bill Middleton and his restaurants, and opening up Jeremiah's downtown and Taqueria, and is another reason that people come. Andiamo, and so what we see is the way that I think also the success of Mystic, definitely the chamber has a hand in it as well. That when I came here We were the Greater Mystic Chamber of Commerce, and we were, focused on Groton and Stonington, and we ended up positioning ourselves as Misquamicut to Niantic as a chamber, and realizing that we can help these businesses because Mystic is the number one tourist visitation place in the state, and maybe we can get people to stay 7 days instead of 2 days. We don't have a beach, so go to Ocean Beach or Misquamicut. We don't have we have history, but there's more history. There's walking trails. There's all kinds of things to do, restaurants to see, places to go outside of Mystic that, we can be that springboard and home base for people to do that. And so I think that the way that we promote and the way that we do our social and how much we've grown our social with respect to Mystic in the area has had a great deal of influence on people coming here.
Yeah, and in your time here as president of chamber, is there any events in particular that you really enjoy putting on, and you get to see the benefit of what it does for the community and everything? It makes you, really proud to have put these events together.
Yeah, I think that like every event that we've done since I've been here, some that we have had, like the art festival is going to be its 68th year, and the Lighted Boat Parade, which is about 22 years, we've changed them. We've put our own spin on them. Not so much the Lighted Boat Parade. There's not much to change there. But with respect to the art festival, when I came, we took it off of Route 1 where it was really dangerous. It was kind of a free-for-all, and we put it on Home Street and Cottrell Street, and had partnered with the Seaport. But some of the events we've created, the Groton City Brew Run, which is in Eastern Point Beach that we do with Groton Utilities, is a great event and continues to grow. The Float Swella, which was originally Floatcella, but we got sued by Coachella, and we had to change. Apparently they care about Little Old Mystic, but that which is music on the water, and you bring your paddlecraft up, and it's really a locals event. I think the biggest joy that I had with regards to events was and Alec, you were a part of it, was the Bridge Anniversary. And so I took over the chamber in 21. In 2022, it was the 100th anniversary of the Mystic Bascule Bridge. And we planned an event for October that was the bridge celebration, that we had, a stage in Mystic River Park. We brought together a number of bridge tenders. It was like 150 years of bridge tenders on the stage. We had all of the local leaders and dignitaries, including the governor. And it was just the greatest day I've ever had in Mystic. It was, we had the presentation. We had a celebration on the street with a chili festival, and we had live bands playing. And then it was culminated with fireworks and the Mystic River, which were just incredible. And that was just one of the most satisfying days that I, if not the most satisfying day in terms of professionally and, what we put together and created and did. That was like for me, the biggest one. But all of the events that we do, we try to be caring to the community and make sure that they're safe. But we're always trying to create new ones. So we do a Pride event now, which is actually going to be June 27th. We do a celebration of Black History Month that we created. That's in its 6th year. And they just continue to, one of my principles is not to stand still and to continually try to improve. So even if it was a 10, they look at the fireworks, it was a 10, we try to make it better for the next year. And we do that with all of the events that we have.
With what you've seen happen, especially lately, the growth that we've had here in this region, it's always kind of like that old Yankee mentality of like, oh, here come the tourists and here come the newbies moving into town and everything. There's sometimes there's grudges held against it, but I, for one, as I'm sure you've seen, there's such a benefit when people from other places, other countries even come here and what they bring to the area, what they bring to the region change, whether it's a new shop or whether it's just something else that they help influence the area. Anything offhand that you would want to touch on where you've seen it personally, how it's maybe helped change our area in ways people have never even thought of?
Yeah, well, I think first off, there's a big balance between the community that you live in as a chamber and especially a tourism chamber and bringing people in and being respectful to that balance. And I think that there's some people who feel will never be balanced and they don't want people, and they talk about traffic and wanting their town back. But in reality, the town and the businesses, they need people to visit. They need that tourism arm. When there's the Whalers Inn and there's a plumbing problem, they call a plumber, and the plumber lives locally, and that's what keeps the plumber in business. And there's all of those things that connect, that keep it going, like from the gasoline to CVS to the small business owners who are doing business. Like it just all is connected. So for the people who say, can you drive a few less people here? I would say no, man. Our foot is always on the gas, because you don't want it to look like 2008 again. So from that standpoint, but then I think that when you're looking at the businesses that are coming in and what they see and what it means to the town, it is sad that Bank Square Books moved from downtown but they stayed in town and didn't close, and now they're across from Big Y. And Lux Bond and Green is looking at, they're a large jewelry store that bought that property, that's looking to open there. And I think that says something about what, the development of Mystic and where it's going to go from here. And clearly, John Green and his family see potential in Mystic that's not tapped yet. Because when you're bringing a jewelry store of that magnitude down here, it says you feel that there's going to be more growth in Mystic. And I would say, and we talked about, what about the small jewelry owners, the small jewelry stores? Yeah, I think, and I've talked to a very small one the other day, and they're like, the more jewelry, the better. That having more jewelry stores will mean more business for everybody. That people who are going to come are not just going to go to one, they're going to go to all of them. All good stuff, and kind of contribute to the je ne sais quoi of Mystic.
Yeah, great. And it's something I'd love for you to touch on, because it's always been kind of, to me, I'm going to use the word, it's been the magic of Mystic. And the fact is that Mystic is always known as a destination. But the truth is, Mystic is more of an, I had someone say it to me once, and I never forgot, because I thought it was wonderful, is because there is not really the town of Mystic. There's not the town of Mystic. There is the town of Groton, and there's the town of Stonington, separated by a river. And so he put it to me that Mystic is a state of mind. But I want to ask you about the fact that Mystic really is these two separate towns that, at some times in history, they did not work together, but they do see the benefit of having each other.
Yeah, so, I made the mistake of saying on a radio show once that Mystic was just a zip code. And I had people coming going, what do you mean? It's more than just, I'm like, I'm sorry. I was just saying that it doesn't have a town, it's not a town with a government. If you're on one side of the bridge, you're in Stonington. If you're on the other, you're in Groton. But I love that Mystic is a state of mind. That's a great tagline. And Mystic is so many different things to so many different people. You can't argue that Mystic Pizza didn't have something to do with the success of Mystic, and it's still there, still iconic, and people still take their picture every day in front of the sign. But Mystic is it for the people who they don't know that it's not a town, and that's fine. Mystic is the population of Mystic is like 4,000, in that zip code, on both sides of the bridge, and I'm going to keep going back to it. It is a state of mind, like it is a thing, but but you're right. The towns do work better together.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's like to me, your job has changed in a way that it serves the small businesses, but it also serves the people that come here from other places, because to me, you're actually creating memories for them. You're actually helping, them, remember Mystic and the adventures that they have here through all these beautiful businesses that we have locally. In our industry, in the film industry, we see a lot of the potential when production comes into town. And certainly, Mystic has had its realm of local filmmakers as well as studio pictures that have come here. And I guess, what I'd like to ask you is as far as how you've seen that change the town in positive or even if there's even negative to it.
Yeah, well, in my tenure here, well, certainly, as we said, Mystic Pizza changed it dramatically for the better. In 2022, I think it was, maybe 23, I lose track of years, Hallmark and Andrew Gerhardt, who produces the films, got the green light on Mystic Christmas. And they had done a number of Christmas movies here in Mystic before, but they didn't take place in Mystic. It was any town, USA. And this movie was taking place in Mystic with real Mystic places. So when they went into Bank Square Books, it was Bank Square Books. When they went into Friar Tuck's, it was Friar Tuck's. When they went to the aquarium where the story was centered around, they were in the Mystic Aquarium. That was dramatic helping the area. So in the movie, they have a scene where they have the lighted boat parade. The characters go to the lighted boat parade. And so when the film premiered on Hallmark Channel in November, there are all these, I was going to say crazies, but the people who love Hallmark movies are gaga over Hallmark. And they have these threads of people talking about the movies as they're going on. Did you see this? Da, da, da. And when the lighted boat parade showed up on the movie, I went into the chat and said the lighted boat parade is real and linked it to the event on our Facebook. And we picked up 7,000 followers that night. And so to my point is that all of that stuff has influence and people watch what's going on. And when there's a movie that's filmed in Mystic, whether it's about Mystic or it's a Hallmark movie that takes place somewhere else but filmed in Mystic, there are people who come here and want to see those places. And the Connecticut is ripe for that because there's a number of Hallmark movies and movies that were filmed in Connecticut, and there's Connecticut Movie Trail and Mystic Movie Trail. And there's a Mystic Pizza Movie Trail. You can go around, we have a flyer that you can go around and see all the places that were in the movie. And so anytime I think we always want those movies to be filmed here, we always want that focus on us. Like when Hell's Kitchen was filmed at Foxwoods the last couple of years and did 2 seasons, all of the things they did for the like the special things that the chefs won were all centered around Mystic. At Jeff Jadone's, at Adventure Mysticon, they went on the Argia. Like they all did stuff around here that would feature the area. People watch it and they're like, "Oh my God, I want to do that." So, and there's more of that stuff popping up. There's actually this year, there are 2 Mystic tour companies that have opened up. There's just recently, like in the last week, a Mystic food adventure where you can go to taste food at several different restaurants. So people local here are seeing the benefits and what's lacking in creating stuff to go along with what we've created and what's being created. It all has to do with the movies.
Since the Mystic Film Festival has been here for it'll be our 9th year this year, have you seen benefits from us being able to bring films from various places here to share those stories with the locals that live in the community? So
this is my 6 years of being involved with the Film Fest and helping to promote it. And Shireen came. We've met several times and spoken. And the film festival, in terms of what it brings to Mystic, is a compliment. When you look at the film that we even go back to Mystic Pizza, there was a movie that drives people here, and to have the film festival, the Mystic Film Festival here, is it's beneficial and special in so many different ways. Like one is it has become a several day event, and so people come and land here for the film festival and stay. And get to take advantage of all the different things that are happening in Mystic. It's a great backdrop. Plus, it gets to feature all of the different venues the unique venues in Mystic and the surrounding areas. And then bringing in, like I was so excited a couple years ago, Karen Allen was coming in as a speaker. And it's like, oh my God, like to have that level of, from the films in Mystic staying at the places that, you know, we call home is really special. And so, and I know that like friends of the family, like have who have gone through film school have come back full circle. It adds to the creating and building up Mystic to continue to grow and be bigger than it was. And the film festival is certainly one of the things I think that has contributed to that in a really big way. We're very fortunate to have it.
Is there anything else that you want to kind of address or bring up, you know, through your time as mayor, now as chamber, or if there's anything you want to talk about that's coming up? Yeah, I'm just going to leave I'm going to shut up and just leave the mic open. Okay.
No, you know, I think that I'll leave you on the fact that Mystic and the region that we live in is a really special region. And as special as it is, we are, the people who live here, and I'll say myself and my family, are so fortunate. I'm so fortunate to have landed here that, you know, we pinch ourselves. You know, we live a mile from town. We've raised 5 kids. We are ensconced in this community. I grew up in Framingham, Massachusetts, and this is my home now. You know, this is where all of our kids were raised, and Framingham is just a blip now. I mean, that's where I spent my childhood, but now I've had more years here by far than anywhere else. And this Mystic is a beautiful place, a special place. It has so many unique qualities that come together to make it what it is. You know, from the 2 towns that make it Mystic to the area that we live in, to even the casinos and how you land here. You know, where everything together makes it just a really, really special place to live and call home. And that for me is the big takeaway, you know, that for people should be, come here, see how special it is, and maybe you'll stay longer than you think, you know, maybe you'll land here.
Well, Bruce, this has been an incredible time talking with you and hearing more about your story. And we appreciate you sharing it with us as well as our listeners. And we hope to have you back again. So thank you.
Alex, thanks for having me. It was always, it's hard to shut me up about Mystic. So happy to come back anytime. Thank you.
And for all of you out there that joined us today, thank you for sharing your time with us. And we look forward to sharing more stories with you. If you'd like to do more, please like, subscribe. You can find us at info@mysticmashpodcast.com. Take care, and we wish you a wonderful days ahead.